Begin. Abyss Tias is going to summon from the hand. We obviously don't want to chain Full Loss to that, only to an effect that would summon from the deck or extra deck. We have Tias on summon searching our deck, plus the Dragoon searching our deck as we have the Abyss Rhine. Now we want to count the, ooh, what the heck? There's already, no, I thought there's a 5 Waters Engrave. There needs to be 5 Waters Engrave to be able to summon the Elemental Lord to discard the final 2 cards from the hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to send from the field plus herself to add from the deck. We're now going to trigger 2 Reborn from the grave, and now we have 5. With our 5 Waters Engrave, delete the rest of their hand. And we know that the cross-out designator is going to come back during the end phase, which we don't even care about. Do we have any forms of disruption here because we couldn't use the extra deck? We do. Crazy enough, the Abyss Shrine and Graveyard can, whenever we want, discard the infantry, draw a card, maybe draw into a hand trap, but more importantly, trigger the infantry to pop a face-up card. That face-up card being our not even a play. We got nothing, mate. All right, well, you could still use the Abyss Shrine if we want to just draw a card. We're going to be passing on that. Poseidra is going to be bouncing a card in the field back to the hand. We got clapped up, even through a Full Loss. Materiactor is going to be activating the effect to add a level 3 normal and then special summon this card in defense. We're going to be doing that under Max C even, okay. We're drawing, we're now under a Full Loss. This is a draw 2 play. We're still committing to it. Thank you for the pot of greed. Yoink. Materiactor Meltdown, plus another Meltdown. Detach a material special summon or add from the deck. We're going to add because we're under the effect of the Max C. We're now going to be triggering these effects. If your Xyz monster activates its effect, you can attach the top card of your deck to this. So what you're essentially doing here is we're trying to attach hand traps to our Xyz monster to then add them to our hand, which we should be able to now use Max C during the opponent's turn if we add it to our hand. We're going to use the Meltdown to reveal 6 cards off the top of our deck. We don't have to shuffle our deck. We get to put them back. We're going to grab the Gigadra, add the Max C, as I said we would be doing here. Set up a Pendulum Scale just to equip it. Now, what are our forms of disruption besides adding the Max C? We're going to Max C them in the draw phase. This is a negate anything. Spell, trap, card, or monster effect negates by adding one of your materials from, so add an Ogre to your hand. And then what's going to happen is we're going to have an Ogre Disruption plus our Negate and our Call by the Grave. Triple form of disruption. What about this card specifically? If your opponent summons a monster, you could add up to 2 materials. And then if a normal's in your graveyard, you can return 1 card. We don't have a normal in grave, unfortunately, so that will not work. Max them up. You maxi me, I maxi you. Oh, shoot. What the heck happened? The 3 is the called by the Ogre. The Ogre's now engraved. The trap is only activatable if we have the Xyz that you just freaking kaiju'd me. Add a material from an it's not there anymore. We can't even use it. So we just have called by. Well, now we drew into an Ash. Ash. Negate. Sekka's Light. Mate. Sekka's Light eating Ash all day, every day. It loves it. Now, with the coal in hand, what you're going to be able to do if we don't return it back in the deck is you can make the Link 2 fish to summon it from the hand that we don't even play. You what, mate? We add Prince, send Dragoons to add a Shadow Squad. We're going to trigger Dragoons. No, you're not. We're going to negate the Dragoons for the entire turn, which Mermail triggers up to 4, 5, up even maybe 6 freaking times. But now our forms of disruption are 0. They're still under the effect of Max C. Call of the Graves on Dragoons. Max C is live. Let's see if we can perform enough special summons under the effect of Max C to still perform that lethal damage. We are going to be triggering the Poseidra to bounce the trap back to the hand, trigger the infantry, pop a face-up card on the field. We got 5,400 damage to the field, pop an Arkaiju. As we now have the Abyss Shrine, which will summon a level 7 onto the field. Our final summon, just like that. 8,200 damage to the field and no way to stop it. Damn. Thanos, you got really unlucky. You had a pretty decent setup. Even under a Maxi and Full Loss, being able to add the Maxi to your hand as an Xyz material that you attached onto your Xyz, you are going to be adding your freaking Ogre. Who would have thought that they could have had any play to counter a counter trap that negates pretty much anything? 2-0, let's go. What is the Mimighoul way? This is Ashable searching for a monster. You don't want to ash that. Grabbing the dragon. I would say this is okay to Mermail, but not Ash. You Ash the Maker. The Maker is going to summon a body onto both sides of the field. On your field, it's going to be face down. And now we are season into the throne. With the throne, we're going to be summoning Mimighoul Master from the deck. The Mimighoul Master will add a Mimighoul monster. And we were not able to trigger our Triple Tactics talent. Normally, we get a monster onto their field, we flip it up, it activates, we then get to use Triple Tactics talent, looking at their hand, draw 2, whatever you want. What are forms of disruption, though? Let's draw to see what we have. With the Mimighoul Master, we could flip an opposing monster from face down to face up to trigger its effect. Now, triggering this is not that great. The opponent has to send a card from the hand to the grave, and then you get to also, as the Mimighoul player, draw a card. But more importantly, what we want to set from the deck, and we do have the ability to do so, is a Mimighoul Dragon. We set this from the deck to the trap, and then we flip it up whenever we want with the Mimighoul Master. It will then trigger to destroy all other face-up monsters on the field. So that's a kind of a board wipe, as we also have the Mimighoul Room, which could flip a monster in the field face down. It's a non-targeting. We also have the effect of the throne. During the main phase, we can non-target return a card in the field back to the hand. We also have Call by the Grave. We also have, that's it, 4. Plus a mini floodgate on the field spell, which we may not even be using. We could flip up our monster right now to ensure the field spell does not floodgate us. Now, in response to the activation of the effect, not the activation of the card, a very important distinction here, we're going to bounce it back to the hand. And you, of course, want to read if it is a hard once per turn. You can only use this effect once per turn, thus we're going to bounce it back. Now we have a Golem into the back row, summon from the back row into Maxi. We, of course, have our cross-out Designate Mate. Negate the Maxi. Still holding on to the trap, the flip, the called by. Those are our 3 forms of disruption. Also, Mimighoul Master at a whopping 4,000 freaking attack. Inclusion search in our deck for the Sulfaneer here. Sulfaneer, discard a Crystron, summon itself, then destroy itself, then summon a Crystron from the deck. We could finger this, and that's exactly what we're doing. Finger the Sulfaneer, no summon from the deck here. Now, we still have a non-target flip and a board wipe. We can't normal summon the Smyger unless we flip up the Archfiend. We're going to this for and search our deck for a monster. We got Sulfador, which can special summon to pop the inclusion. Come forth, on summon, activate, send from the deck to the grave 2 Crystron cards we want. Inclusion, reborn from engrave our Tristaros. Now, once Tristaros hits the field, any activation from the opponent will be met with Tristaros activating to summon a monster from the deck and then performing a synchro. With that thought, we're trying to activate our cards early. Let's Mimighoul Room. Flip a card in the field face down by giving them the dragon. That is our 1 final disruption left. We don't even have room to summon a monster from the deck in response to the master activating to flip up the dragon to then wipe away all other face-up cards. Oh, we're triggering it right now. We're not even using the master. We're going to flip it up, take out Tristaros, take out the Golem. Now, the Smyger can be normal summon if we flip up the Archfiend, right? No, now we have a face-down Sulfador. By committing to special summons before our normal summon, and those monsters being flipped face down, we're now floodgated on the Smyger. Not that it would even be that big of a deal. We'd want to be searching for an inclusion. Wipe away the Golem, wipe away, we're going to use the Master also to flip up the Archfiend, forcing them to discard the Smyger, which they kind of wanted to do, but they already activated the inclusion, so it's no good there. Now, there is a glimmer of hope for Matty Pin, and that is that Mimighoul should not be able to end the duel early, but they have the field spell plus Mimighouls that have already been on the field for more than once per on the turn previously, that is. That's why they have a boosted attack. So we have 9,000 attack on the field, meaning Mimighoul should very easily be able to clean up this duel. Despite that, we're just going to attack directly. Lethal attack, directing right over the face down monster, just like that. Nicely done. We have no hand trap in sight, thus we're going to speed this up in game, searching for our Golem. The Mega Fleet states that you are going to, without permission from the opponent, you're just going to grab their Cyber Dragon Infinity and a monster in the extra zone and just put them in the graveyard. Plop them in, no activation, no Chain Link 1, grab them and dump them, which they would lose their Spell and Trap card negate plus their Omni negate. They would still have Baron to Floor, the Crystron cluster, and an Ash Blossom. So in total, our forms of disruption, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe a 6 disruption with Tristaros if we could summon another Dragster. Otherwise, no. This is not going to be another... Well, it actually... If the Dragster negates something, it goes to level 5, then this could turn into a Quarion play. So actually 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good try. Yes. We summon Slime, then pass. Mimighoul dungeon. We're going to be searching for our monster here. We have the dragon, which I said was okay to Imperm or Veiler. Nicely done. You Ash the Maker, you Imperm Veiler the dragon. It's an important distinction on using your negates properly, as we're now going to summon an Archeon to the opposing side of the field, which would help block a card like Impermanence, but we got Veilered instead. What are our forms of Disrupt? We have Droll, which could disallow them from further adding from the deck, but we could just finger it. And then we have the Azure Rune, which can negate an inherent special summon. What is an inherent special summon? That would be a Cyber Dragon Infinity. Would it be a Sulfador or a Sulfaneer? No. Pretty much anything from the extra deck in the terms of this deck. Now, is it only extra deck? It can negate a Fenrir summon, a Diablo Star summon, but we don't play anything like that within this deck. It could stop a Doom Dragon. It can't stop the Millennium cards. Hopefully you understand how that works. Inclusion to trigger the Droll. We have Sulfad... Whoa, we did not Droll. No Droll. What are we holding Droll for? I guess we didn't want to Droll the Mimighoul Archfiend, which is now dead. Now, before they perform a Synchro Shokan, we're going to perform a Synchro Shokan in response to you stopping us from performing a Synchro Shokan. Yes, in response to your activation, we're going to summon for the deck and Synchro and not get negated. Now, we use Smart Grip Banishing, grab from our deck a cluster. Sorry, I'm dying. Now we Droll. Now we're going to be using the effect of the inclusion. We didn't even bother fingering that Droll, meaning that this is a deck that it's okay to Droll yourself. Azure Rune is going to... Are you trying to finger a trap? Yes. Let's finger the I was fingering the Archfiend. Come on, that's... Obviously, this is a perfect time to finger the Archfiend. Negate the summon, mate. Now, we have Tristaros, which is going to pop the Dragster. Summon for the deck Sulfador in Tristaros, as we now Cyber Dragon Infinity up into the good suck. We could suck up that dragon. It is now mine. We don't have enough for lethal damage, obviously, and despite that mishap of also deleting our Dragster, we have a negate plus pop, mate, and the affected Tristaros, which could maybe go into a form of disruption. We normally would be going into a Dragster here, which we don't have access to. This is activatable every turn, at least. That is great. It's not just on the turn it's activated or on activation. Unfortunately, Cluster is going to be wiping it away by returning the Sulfador back from the deck. Now, the second Mimighoul dungeon cannot be used, and Birth is dead. Straight up brick. Oh, shite. It's Mimighoul. We had a great Duel 1. There you go. Every, 5 or 10 duels, Mimighoul is going to have a great one. I'm happy that we were able to witness it within the event. And just like that, lethal damage. Well done. Let's go. Sulfaneer, discard the Smiger here. Sulfaneer triggering to summon for the deck a Sulfador. Sulfador, send 2 cards from the deck to the grave. I do want to note here that we said no to Ash and then no to Ash. We could have Ashed the Sulfaneer, summon from the deck. We could have Ashed the effective Sulfador, send from the deck. Now, should you negate Sulfador? I heard this is a great negate. Well, you heard incorrect or you're misinterpreting. It's not about negating Sulfador, it's about how you negate it. The way you want to negate this is with a Veiler or Impermanence on a Sulfador, and you want to Ash the effect of a Tristaros attempting to summon 2 bodies from the deck. Here's another Ashable effect. We did not Ash. Here's another Ashable effect. We're not going to Ash. I think this is why the deck is doing well, because people are not Ashing correctly. Do not Ash that. There's been, what, 5 Ashable effects? And on the latter, people are just going to fire it on the first one, likely. And now, Ash. Negate. Daradern held it, mate. As he correctly should have. Nicely done. Sulfador. Now, they're still obviously going to have plays because it is a good deck. The Inclusion's going to reborn a monster from Engrave. We're going to at least have a Cyber Dragon Infinity. Nova into Infinity. Sorry for skipping the cutscene there. What is really not cool, having non-engine being extra forms of disruption on your very first turn. We have Duel, Imperm, already triple disruption before even talking about what our deck does. We then have Cluster to pop 2 cards on the field that are face up. We have Infinity to negate anything. 5 disrupt versus 5 cards in hand. Walls of the Imperial Tomb to allow us to use Droll, or we're going to Cluster Pop it instead. I mean, it's probably going to grab I'm Seti, and then I'm Seti wants to grab another card, which can't because of Droll. I would think we maybe just allow it. We purposely Cluster Pop our own Crystron Synchro to reborn our Tristaros, for Tristaros to then go into a Dragster. So even more forms of disruption. Nicely done with that play. Very good. So you have Spell and Trap card, negate, Draw and Lockbird, no more adding from the deck to the hand mate. We have Lurie into the Requiem, where of course the Fiendsmith plays do not care about Droll beyond the Engraver adding Attract. That's the only time Droll would actually negatively affect Fiendsmith. Infinity negating the Requiem effect of summoning from the deck. We still have double impermanence in the Dragster. We're going to negate the activation of Triple Tactics talent, thus another copy would be activatable. And now we whip out the grass. We're about to mill 23 cards against only 2 impermanents. And it's a tier deck, isn't it? This should be nuts. Daradurn with the blowout. Let's go. Dotscaper, Sherrod, Trigger, Let's Fusion Summon, Reborn from the Grave, Meta Noise, add from Engrave the Rhino Heart back to our hand. We have already committed to our normal summon. Oh, we're still on YouTube. I can't play that music. Crap. Whoops. Imperm. Negate the Kikalos from adding a tier or sending from the deck here. I think I just got copyright striked. We're going to return the Lurie Engrave back, reborning the Engraver. Engraver could send a monster on the field to the grave, say goodbye to the Infinity or Dragster. Begone. As we further link off the field into a sequence, we can now Imperm negate that sequence mate. If you have a Fairy Tale Snow, it'd be good to chain banish the sequence to ensure that the effect still goes through. But through milling 23 freaking cards, you still do not have a Fairy Tale Snow. What the? As we now take out the Dragster, direct attack for 1200. Main phase 2, we're going to link off into a Little Knight. Little Knight's going to banish from the field or grave, taking out the Sulfador. As we're also going to use the Keldo to return additionally even more cards in the graveyard back into the deck. Let's talk about the forms of follow-up we have here. The Cluster obviously activatable right now to return banished card back to then pop a card in the field. We're going to take out the Little Knight, but beyond that in graveyard we have nothing activatable. We do have Smyger, which we could link off. Now this states that if you declare a monster name, this turn, neither player could special summon monsters with that original name, except from the graveyard. So the main way to get Smyger in the grave to then win the entire duel is to correctly declare the monster you think that you know they're going to summon, which will probably be the Clockwork Knight. Will Daradurn declare Clockwork Knight, or maybe more safely declare with the Black Goat Laughs another monster, as maybe you wait for them to search for the Sulfador and then they attempt to summon Sulfador, then you declare Sulfador on that activation? Let's see what they do. Now, some people do play Almirage instead. I've seen it. I think that the Clockwork Knight is better because you could be machine locked sometimes. No Black Goat to stop the Clockwork, so thus the Smyger successfully goes to the grave. But as I said, it could be safer for the Inclusion to just call the monster that we add on its activation. This is it. Activate, call the Black Goat, call the Sulfador. Now, there is an issue with this sometimes where this says, except from the grave. So if we could have got Sulfador in the grave somehow, Sulfador, even through a Black Goat Laughs, could still properly be summoned, but only because it's in the hand, it does not get summoned. No summon for you. The Inclusion still gets popped, but there's nothing to reborn. Ain't no way. We're going to Rainbow Bridge. Wait, didn't we have something to reborn? What? didn't we? Oh, crap. We returned our Crystron level 7 Synchro from the grave back into the deck. And you may be thinking, well, he used Cluster, he has to. Shuffle a Crystron that's in the grave or banished. We could have returned a banished card, leaving the Crystron level 7 Synchro, which then the inclusion could have at least reborn back on the field. We are Kashtira grabbing. You could still use the Cluster to get popping. We also have a Nibiru. Let's see. Fenrir is here. Tier Cash. Mill 3 here. Trivikarma is going to search our deck for a tier limit card. We get Heartbeat to stop the Cluster. Rhino Heart, send from the deck to the grave. The Havnis. Now, this should, on the 5th summon, be a way, or the 4th summon if we already have Kikalos. If not, it would have been the 5th summon to negate the Nibiru with our Rukalos. Cluster, attempting to take out Rukalos. Heartbeat, negate with MST, mate. Not today. Cluster, be gone. Back into the deck you go. And just like that, Daradurn with that grass. Oh my Jesus. Bori had so many disruption the very first turn. Daradurn with a well-timed Ash. Daradurn eating up through all the disruption into a grass. Perfectly done. Let's hop into game 2. We're going to start with the Wedju Temple, put a Drone Lockbird into the back row, or the Smiger, because Smiger wants to be in the graveyard. That is also good, so we're not even using up the normal summon. And we are ashing the Senjin. We could Doom Dragon, put Smiger in the grave, and then fully pop off from there. We got full combo. Holy moly. Is Millennium worth negating with Ash? Because now completely unhindered, we do get to keep the draw. I was incorrect to saying they put into the back row. Smiger activated on the grave, obviously, with the hard opened up Wedju Temple was good. What did we even stop by negating Senjin? We stopped the Zombie Vampire. When we know the Smiger is also full combo by summoning a Doom Dragon. Oh my Jesus. Get ready to talk about this disruption. Cyber Dragon Infinity. As we are now going to be reborning the Sulfador. Let's see what we accomplished here. The Tristaros plus Sulfador on the field here tells me that we are setting up for a hard counter against tier limit, which would be the Quarion. So what is a good way to activate the Quarion against a tier limit? If they normal summon a Rhino Heart, they activate Rhino Heart to send a card from the deck to the grave, do we try to summon a Quarion then, or do we wait for a tier to activate in grave, then summon a Quarion? So what you would want to do is, if they're activating an effect that you know could very likely or definitively will lead into a tier limit activation, you chain summon Quarion right then and there, because what's going to happen is you're the non-turn player. So let's say the Rhino Heart activates, you chain Tristaros, you summon a Quarion, then the Rhino resolves, sends a Sharon. Sharon would now be chain link 1, Quarion would be chain link 2 to banish the Sharon from the graveyard, stopping the whole fusion summon play. Let's see if we do something like that. Fairy Tail Snow attempting to flip down the Infinity, Imperm, negate. As we may chain summon Quarion to the Sharon. Not yet. Nope. We're going to reinforce from the army, grab a Rhino from the deck to the hand, even though we already used up our normal summon. And now, we did not do it. We didn't chain. So if there's a tier fusion trigger here, Quarion's not going to be able to stop it. Which didn't even happen. But we would have been able to stop the Trick Clown. And because the Trick Clown is not resulting in a fusion that matters, we're going to simply just banish away their entire field. Goodbye to the Snow, goodbye to the Sharon, goodbye to the Trick Clown, or we could banish a Fiendsmith card in grave instead, which is exactly what we end up doing, leaving the Trick Clown up on the field here. We still had Droplet, we had Droll, we had the Cluster Pop. Very nice. Let's hop into game number 3. We have just Ash. Now, what is a good Ash against a tier deck? Pretty much anything resulting in a tier fusion play could be the way, and I'm Seti, I would say, is a good negate, as they would be searching for the King Sark, plus drawing an additional card, completely denying them from even being able to summon their horse cards on the field here. Imperm off the top of the deck, negate the Fenrir, we're left with just a Droplet, And the tier cache is not even activatable to randomly mill 3 into a fusion until we use Droplet to send Fenrir, and then we're gonna have to YOLO go into a fusion play. So we maybe have 2 disruption, but at the moment, just 1. It all comes down to the Droplet tier cache play. Sulfador, popping the inclusion. This is the way as we send from the deck to the grave a Sulfaneer. Let's make a Crystron level 7 Synchro, add from the grave back to our hand our Sulfador. We're gonna Tristaros, pop our level 7 Synchro to summon 3 bodies on the field, 2 from the deck, 1 from the grave or banish. As we now get ready to Cyber Dragon Infinity. Infinity's gonna suck up the Fenrir, which we cannot allow. You're forcing the Droplet. We need this in graveyard to activate the tier cache. No way, right? We had to be able to have the chance to banish the Fenrir, I think, right? No YOLO mill 3. Mill 3 YOLO is now gone. What the heck? If we Droplet send tier cache, it does not even trigger to mill 2. Uh-oh. Well, we are going to be reborning. I guess, they're not even threatening lethal damage. I guess we don't care. Bro, this deck weak or what? What the heck? Smiger main phase 2 searching for a cluster. Nah, I'm good. I'll just wait till next turn. We're going to I'm Seti plus the Triple Tactics talent. We're just going to get rid of the Triple Tactics talent knowing that they would probably negate it, but we have Droplet for the negate. Negate the Infinity Mate. We're going to send the field spell plus the tier cache to ensure that we're going all in onto a King Sark. The cluster is just going to pop. So it's all about the random draw. This is no good. We did not draw what we want. Now, before it gets discarded, we could pop it right now. And why would you pop it right now? Why would you not wait for the activation? You would not want to wait for the activation, not because we know it's in the hand, but because we know it's in the graveyard. You don't want them to summon the I'm Seti or the other horse. You have to pop it right now. That's the play, the obvious play, the only way. Get rid of it now. Pop it. And I guess we scoop now. We didn't even get to YOLO tier cache mill 3. That is a shame. To battle we go. Lethal damage. All right.